Hello, this is Dreams with Jam. Thanks for joining me today. We are going to be continuing our series on new player information. Today we're going to talk about storage and resources. If you do like this video or series, please make sure that you drop that like at the end. I would super appreciate that. And if you haven't yet subscribed, please do so and get notified when there's new content. Okay, so we're going to be using our character Rose here. This is a game that is completed. So basically I have no quests currently. All characters are up to level 10 and I have basically done everything. So we are going to use this character to show kind of some different ways to do things. We're going to be starting off with natural resources. We're going to talk first about fishing. Fishing can be done pretty much in every single biome with water, obviously not the plaza, but everywhere else. There are three main bubbles here. You can see white, gold, or red, depending on how you want to say that, and the blue. Each particular bubble brings up a different fish. Now, you can figure out what that is by looking at your collection, okay? So if I go to fish, you can see all the different fish, and then at the bottom, you can see where you find it, and then how much it sells for, how much energy it brings you, okay? So all of these different fish will craft different recipes, and then you can eat them raw out of your inventory, or you can sell them. Now, in the early game, I suggest selling them. I mean, honestly, there's no reason for you to stock up. You can fish at all times. There's really no reason to create storage for your fish yet. If you do choose to do so, you can do that by using refrigerators, etc., which we'll get in a moment. But let's go back to talking about fishing. So you can fish in the bubbles. Just choose whichever one you're doing, or if you're going to be using it for a recipe, you're looking for a certain kind, that's how you're going to choose what to fish for. Okay, so right now we just caught a catfish. Okay. One of the things I will suggest for resources with fishing is fish outside of the bubbles. Okay, so the reason we fish outside the bubbles is you can get a different type of resource. In the valley, it's usually going to be seaweed. Okay, so over in Storybook Vale, you're going to be able to get things like the salt, the coral, other items like that. But fishing outside the bubble does give you resources as well. So I highly suggest doing that. Over in Eternity Isle, you'll get things like plastic and scales. Okay, so make sure that you're choosing to fish outside those bubbles. Okay, mining. Mining is important, obviously, for gem resources. But you can also, this is how you get coal and stone. Okay, so make sure that you are mining as much as possible. And I'm going to say this for every single thing that you do in the game, especially for a new player, you're going to want to do these fishing, mining, gardening, etc. Do these tasks with the correct villager that is assigned for that role. So if I'm a new player, I don't want to mine without somebody with me who's a miner, because they're going to duplicate the items that I am mining. Okay, so usually whatever the last item is, if you're not using a potion, whatever that last item is, if it's coal, stone, or a gem, that villager is going to duplicate that for you. So make sure that you're using a villager with you when you're doing these tasks. Okay, gardening. Gardening not only provides the resource itself. Let's go. I'm going to pull up my map. And we're going to go to a floating island where I have all of my gardening. It just takes a minute to load here. Okay, Fairy Godmother is my gardener, so I'm going to use her. I'm going to hang out. We're going to go over and do one of the first resources you get is the resources in the meadow, which is wheat, lettuce, and carrots. Let's go ahead and start doing our carrots. Now, if you look at my energy level, you can see that my energy level is just at the blue. I want to make sure that I'm going to eat something, because if you're in the yellow here, you fill that yellow bar of energy, you do get more chance of an explosion of that particular resource and memories, etc. Okay, you have a higher chance of getting those items. Let's keep pulling out here. You can see she is duplicating. Oh, there's one of those explosions. Now I can do that and get more, even more of this resource. In the early game, you're going to use obviously a lot of this material for cooking, etc., but you're going to be selling a lot of it as well. Oh, you can see there's another one. So again, your yellow bar increases your chance of getting all of these different items. Now, one of the things you'll get too is soil. Soil becomes important for crafting, etc. Okay, so make sure that you are gardening and picking up all of those extra resources. I'm going to say goodbye to the fairy godmother here, and we're going to talk about foraging. Foraging is things like you're going to pick, fruit and things off bushes. You're going to pluck oregano and all of the different spices that grow in the ground. Every single biome does have its own particular spice that grows. For example, oregano grows here in the plaza. I'm sure there it is right here. Make sure that you are harvesting that. There's no reason to let it sit. Go ahead and pluck that. You can sell it, you can store it, etc. Up here in the Sunlit Plateau, we have vanilla that grows, so we want to make sure that we're plucking all of that and using those things for recipes. You can go ahead and just experiment with all the different spices and things that you are growing. Throw some carrot, a lettuce, and a spice together and see what you get. Cooking is a valuable resource in the early game because you're going to need that for replacing your energy at all times. Okay, so if I don't have a ton of recipes, I'm just going to throw some stuff together. I'm going to do cherries, blueberries. I got an egg from Remy, let's say, and then I just want to throw in a cocoa bean. Let's see what we get. Okay, we got a hard-boiled egg. Don't ask me how we got that. Interesting flavor choice. But you can see here, it does give me 1,878 in energy. That's a lot of energy in the early game. So don't hesitate to try and throw some of the things that you're foraging together for different recipes. Even if it doesn't make sense, like a hard-boiled egg with cherries, blueberries doesn't make sense to me, but there it is, and it did give me quite a bit of energy. Okay, so that's foraging. Make sure that you're picking too and not using a vacuum. If you do have vacuums because you have Eternity Isle, make sure that you're in the early game, you're not necessarily using these vacuums. You want to be picking it individually to make sure you're getting those memories. I find that using the vacuum does not give me a higher chance of getting memories. In fact, I think it's the opposite, especially for foraging. Okay, let's talk about flowers. Flowers grow at the same rate all the time. So what I mean by that is, if you say, well, I'm going to pluck all of the flowers here in the plaza. These are the flowers that grow in the plaza. I'm going to pluck them all. I'm going to wait till tomorrow and I'll have double the amount of flowers. That's not going to happen. It's going to be the same number of flowers every single time. So if we look here, I have 6 dandelions. That's going to remain at the number 6 until I pluck them and get 6 more in about an hour. Okay, so you can pluck them and then come back in about an hour and pluck them all again, etc. It's not going to compound. Okay, so I'm not going to come back tomorrow and see this is 12. Okay, your flowers are going to stay static. And the other reason I say pluck your flowers is once you do, you get new recipes. Okay, so in the early game, make sure that you're pulling up the flowers and you're going to see crafting materials popping up in your option of collection. Okay, so if we go here to crafting, some of these items pop up in your inventory for availability based on the items that you are picking up. So make sure that you are picking up those items, especially the flowers. Okay, let's talk about the Scrooge store. The Scrooge store is obviously one of the most used and fun things to do personally, I think. You're going to go into the store every day and there's going to be a ton of new items and you're going to want to buy them all. In the early game, it's very important not to overbuy. You're going to need your money. You're going to need your money for upgrading homes, upgrading the Scrooge store, upgrading Remy's, Wally's Garden, Moana's fishing boat, and then every single new villager that you bring into the game, you have to pay to create their home. So your star coins are, your coins are going to remain super important in the game for you to hoard a little bit in the early game until you get to the point where you're farming pumpkins or, pineapples. You're going to need that resource for other things. So don't overbuy in the Scrooge store. And my suggestion is to concentrate, number one, on items that are available for storage. So you're going to want to look at dressers. If you get the Daisy wardrobe, that's a very important one to pick up if you get that. Refrigerators, fish tanks, all of the things that provide storage. That's going to be the thing you're going to want to get first. The second thing you're going to want to do is look at what the Dream Snap is for that week. If you are participating in Dream Snaps, because Dream Snaps are important for your resource, right? You're gonna need to participate to get Moonstone. You're gonna need to participate to get coins if you're on Apple Arcade. Okay, you're gonna need to make sure that you're doing everything you can to get your advantage in the game, right? So if I look at this, it's Coziness Beyond the Stars right now. I'm going to want to focus on items that would help me with that particular challenge. So if I'm going to walk around and, okay, no storage here. So that's the first thing I'm going to look for. If you have opened up the top, go up to the top. Do I have anything that's going to help me in my Dream Snap? Okay, I don't. So honestly, I don't know that I would buy much this day. It's a lot of plain materials. It's a lot of materials that are kind of like an indoor situation. There's really nothing outdoors like, a fountain tile or a fountain itself, anything that would maybe help me with my Dream Snap. So I'm not going to spend any money today. Okay. Again, that's going to look at your Dream Snap, look at the clothing options, the hair options, etc., and get things based on what you need for that particular week. Okay. You can also check the wiki page, which I'm going to link in the description of this video. The wiki page for Dreamlight Valley is very, very helpful for you to look at what items in the Scrooge store are maybe on the rare side, so you can look out for those as well. Like I mentioned, the fountain tile, that one is pretty rare. The topiary square, things that are maybe not going to pop up very often for you. So use that wiki page to look at all the items at maybe which ones you want to look at first. Okay, let's talk about critters. That's another resource. And I know you don't think of it as a resource, but it really is. So critters are located in particular biomes. So you're only going to see the squirrels in the plaza, unless you have one with you, obviously, or you have a critter house. But you're going to see their schedule. So if I look at who's in the Sunlit Plateau today, I can do the golden sunbird. At this time, yes, I can do the orchid sunbird and the turquoise sunbird. So I could go up and feed all three of these birds. Now, every single critter has its favorite food, and you can see it's not listed on this collection page. Again, use the wiki page. It will tell you what their absolute favorite food is. For the birds, it's going to be flowers that match their wings. I know that maybe doesn't sound like it makes much sense, but that's how, the look at the wing in the bird. itself, and you'll be able to know what flower to give it. Okay, so if I look at this golden sunbird, I'm going to go up and pick one of the yellow flowers in the sunlit plateau itself. That's its favorite food. Okay, so we're going to grab one of these, and then I'm going to find that yellow bird. Sometimes if I stand still, it's easier to see. It can be, as you decorate, you can see it'll get a little bit more difficult to find the critters, just because you have a lot of obstacles blocking your way, etc. Oh, I see one over on the other side. Let's go over there. I think that might be the turquoise bird. Nope, that's the orchid sunbird. Okay, let's keep looking here. To find this yellow bird. Well, I don't know, but let's feed this one. We'll grab, let's see, what bird is that? The turquoise bird. I think it's the pink flower. Let's go ahead, go up to this bird. You'll know it's their favorite food with the birds because they spin in a circle. And every single animal and critter, oh, see, there he's spinning in that little circle. That means I've fed him his favorite food. And then they give you a gift back. Okay, so, oh, and that's the important one. They do give you memories. Okay, so feeding the birds, they can give you dream shards, which obviously are very important. They can give you memories, they can give you motifs, or they could give you seeds. Okay, so feeding the birds isn't necessarily about getting just the critter itself. It's about getting all of this kind of thing. So they are, that's why I said they are a resource. Okay. And then the other thing with the critters is obviously you tame them. So you can see I have all of the critters tamed. So I can use them now in dream snaps or as just a friend following me, which becomes important because as you can see here, with voting right now, it's quirky companions. It's all about having a companion. So make sure that you are feeding critters as much as possible and gaining a kind of a list of critters that you can have with you at all times. And some, like you can see my friend R2 here, he's a companion, but he was in the premium shop, which you will get those as well. And they function the same way as a squirrel would. Okay, so make sure you use that wiki page, look at kind of what they can provide for you, etc. Okay, we're going to talk about upgrades. Some of the things that get upgraded, like I said, it's your house. You start off with the house that looks like kind of like a shack with the boarded up windows, and then you slowly build from there. Goofy's stall. Okay, so you will need coins to upgrade your Goofy stalls. The wells. It's not necessarily an upgrade, but like I said, you will need coins to open up your wells for fast travel. You have Wally's Garden. You have your pocket itself. So your inventory starts very small, and then you upgrade that inventory by spending coins to kind of expand to be able to fill your pockets to the max. And then as you expand your pocket, the chest that comes with your house, your main chest, that chest expands with your pocket. So you don't have to do that twice for that upgrade, okay? And then another upgrade you'll have is Wally's Garden, which provides you free crops daily. And then Moana's Stall, which she stocks with all different kinds of fish. Okay, let's talk about storage. Storage is super, super important, okay? Storage is everything in the game. You're going to want to stock and not sell your main components. And I'll show you what I mean by that. You can see my house obviously is completely expanded, but as you start in the main game, you can have your storage just in your house, wherever you want, okay? So some of the things you're not going to want to sell in the early game: stone, coal, your sticks or wood, Okay, you're going to need that wood for every single thing in the game, crafting wise at the beginning. Sand, clay, and iron ore. Okay, those are some of the things you never want to sell in the early game. I know I said many, many times already that it's important to hoard your star coins, and that's completely true. Okay, that you don't want to get rid of coins by spending too much, etc. But all of these materials are so important for your questing and crafting that if you start selling them, you're going to get yourself in a bind where you're stuck because you don't have enough stone or wood, etc., for the particular quest that you're working on. So storage becomes extremely, extremely important. And you can see here I'm using chest options, okay? Chests have to be crafted, and they do take a lot of wood, and they do take a lot of Dreamlight, so you might not have that option in the early game. Okay, so there are other options. One of the things you will get from Scrooge, as you finish his questing, you'll get these, I guess, what are they called? Safes. A word didn't come to me. So you'll get these safes. They are available then to purchase from Scrooge, so they won't cost you any crafting material. However, you can see here it is a very small storage option. But in the early game, that's okay. You can fill this with stone very quickly, and then you'll have a chest for stone. So that's an option for your storage. Okay, you can craft the small chest. The small chest doesn't take a lot of wood and Dreamlight, but it does take some. And you can see, again, it's just that 2 rows. There is a medium chest. The medium chest is just what it sounds like. It takes it from 2 to 4. And then the large chest is 6 rows. Okay, we talked about the Daisy Wardrobe. The Daisy Wardrobe is an option where you can purchase it from Scrooge instead of crafting it. You can use refrigerators. Refrigerators are just like a small chest, okay? I use this refrigerator, you can see here, for all of the beach items that you collect. You can use fish tanks. Fish tanks are just like a small chest, but again, you can store things in those. It will become available in Scrooge's. You can see here I have a cold storage room, and this is where I store snowballs, the cheese, milk, eggs, and butter that we get from Remy's store, and then my fish from all 3 locations, the Vale, Eternity Isle, and the Main Valley. But in the early game, you can just do things like this. Your house, it's just gonna be for storage, right? I'm just going to come in here. I need to empty my pockets because my pockets are full. Just drop stuff on the floor. Now, one note with dropping things on the floor is those do not become available for cooking until they're in either a storage chest or they're in your pockets. So if I go to my cooking station and all my carrots are on the floor, it will say that I have 0 carrots. Okay, so just pick those back up if you're going to do a particular recipe that needs carrots, so it's in your pocket or in a storage chest. Okay? There will be an event for camping, and you'll be able to craft this particular chest. Okay? You'll get the recipe for that, and that it is a large chest, and I like to store meals in it. Okay? So, Daisy Wardrobe, refrigerators, some dressers, etc. Those things are all storage and can be purchased in Scrooge's. And that's how I suggest you do your storage at the beginning, just to save your money. So if we go to, well, I'm going to go to the furniture menu here and show you real quick. There is a storage option, and you'll be able to see everything that will house storage for you. Okay, there's the Daisy chest. The Daisy one is a large chest. I don't know if I said that, but okay. So we talked a little bit about money. Ways to get money we'll get into in another video, but it is important to hoard that. Hoard your Dreamlight, okay? Upgrades, we already talked about. If you have any specific questions about what to upgrade or what not to, let me know in the comments, and then I can address you personally on that one. It depends on kind of what your goal is. So there's a lot of answers to the whole what should I upgrade, what should I wait on question. Energy, we already talked about a little bit in the prior video. Don't use your glider as much as possible in the early game because you're going to waste energy, and food and that kind of thing is something that's going to be extremely important to be careful about so you're not overproducing. Stalls. There are all different kinds of stalls in the game. We have Goofy, Kristoff, Tiana, Mulan, and Aladdin. Now, you'll get these stalls as you progress through the game. Goofy stalls, obviously, it's your seeds and food. So Goofy stalls remain kind of the most important thing to focus on in the beginning. Kristoff is the next one you'll probably open as the Frozen Realm becomes available pretty quickly to everyone in the early game. Kristoff stall, I suggest going to daily and just wiping it out if you can. His materials will be crucial to progressing in the game and getting all of your characters leveled up. Tiana's stall is just meals. By the time you get her stall, depending on when you open her up, I mean, I very rarely visit Tiana's stall, but it can be, handy if you don't like cooking, you can just run to her stall and quickly get some high energy meals. Mulan, her stall is just a tea stall, so that's the only place that you can get tea leaves. Aladdin sells gems, and that's an easy way to get some gems instead of mining or to kind of bulk up what you already have. Okay. Let's go back and look at our collection menu. So we covered critters and the reason critters are important, crafting, and all the materials you can see here are listed for what you need to craft those particular items. Okay, so you can see the seaweed, which we talked about in the fishing, right? You're going to fish outside of the bubbles. Okay, iron is super important at the beginning. You can only get iron ore in certain places. So you can see here that the iron ingot itself takes 5 iron ore and then 1 coal. And then if we go down to, well, let's see, where is, I don't know if it's in this crafting. So it won't be in crafting. Let's see, foraging, there we are. Iron ore, you can see all of the different places you can get iron ore. So if I'm mining in the plaza and the meadow, I'm not going to see it because there is no iron available in those particular mining nodes. I need to go probably to the Glade of Trust. So honestly, you can see here, your crafting will give you a clue of what you need to open first. So I know it becomes a question in the early game, what do I open first, the glade or the forest? And you can see here that iron ore is available in both places. It really kind of just depends on what you want to quest first. Okay, so make sure that you're kind of thinking that one through a little bit differently than just about materials. It's about the characters and things that it quests, open questing. Okay. Some of these items you can see here are during events. We're about actually to open Park Fest event coming up very, very soon. So this button thing will begin and that will open up on your crafting as well. And it doesn't matter what kind of player you are, what stage you're at. Most of the time the events will open for you. It doesn't matter where you're at in the game. So don't worry that you won't be included in that. Here we have all the flowers, where to find them, etc. So, take a moment and kind of look through your foraging and what is available and what, you can use. Okay, so when I'm talking about the different items in the game, like foraging, crafting, fishing, etc. Don't forget that you can decorate with these items in the early game as well. So you could have a table with maybe wrapping paper at Christmas time, or let's say you want to create a construction zone around Wally's garden. You could drop some pebbles or sand or, whatever, you can put snowballs on the ground in the Frosted Heights to decorate with. In fact, I have done so. We can take a look at that. Okay, so we'll travel over to the Frosted Heights. And you can see that I have used snowballs here to decorate with. And just drop them strategically around. And it's a really cute way to decorate that doesn't cost you any money. I don't have to buy anything from Scrooge to have those laying out. Okay. So that pretty much covers this video. I wanted to just kind of go over the different things about ways to get materials, what to sell, what maybe not to sell. I would say in the early game, it's important to maybe sell fish. It's important to sell, become a carrot farmer. I know that sounds like a lot of fun, but mine, not mine. Dig up those carrots, keep doing that over and over and over and selling, and you'll, gain some star coins pretty quickly. You can also sell gems. You don't have to necessarily hoard every single gem. I would say it's good to maybe keep 5 of each. Just have a stack of 5 in your house so you always have a few gems, and then keep selling the rest. Because like I said, money is the key to getting ahead at the beginning of the game. Okay, so if you have any specific questions on this video, please drop them in the comments below. I will definitely answer every single one of them. Storage, store, hoard. That's the name of the game in the beginning. But yeah, if you have any questions, let me know. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm enjoying this series. I hope you are too. And keep on dreaming.